habits are actually an indicator to something bigger. So what does, and I said this before, your poop say about you? I promised earlier on, we're actually going to be showing you a poop chart that gives you an indication of what you're dealing with. And of course, later on, we're so excited to have our favorite nutritionist and fitness coach, Roseanne Kamau. She's ready to take us through those foods that are going to actually promote your digestion. But for now, still back with Dr. Daval Mistry, who is a gastrointestinal surgeon from Mediheal Hospital. Daktari,
yes.
Let's now get over to our stool chart.
Yes, definitely.
This one, everybody's so keen to pay attention as to, you know, when we talk about different types. So I'm going to ask my director to actually slap that up on our screen, and then we'll talk about it as we move through and even discuss appearance and color. Okay, so when we talk about types,
this is the Bristol stool chart. It depends upon the consistency of stool what you're having. So 1 and 2 are towards the constipation side, 3 and 4 are the normal one, and 4 and beyond are the diarrhea side.
Okay, so let's see 3 and 4.
So it's a spectrum.
So what is separated, what actually looks like lumpy is constipation.
Yes, exactly. And the palate form.
And the palate form. What is considered regular stool, you said, is type 3 and type 4.
Yes, exactly.
Okay, and so you can see it's a soft, smooth type of...
Yes, that indicates you're not able to digest your fats well, or you're having some sort of infection as you go beyond the 4, 5 and 6. Okay. But 3 and 4 are considered normal. So if you are on the topmost side, 1 or 2, or if you are on the lowermost side at 5, 6, 7, then you need to consult your doctor.
Okay, let's see what 5, 6 and 7 actually look like. So we talk about soft, blobby when it's almost to the point where there's too much water. Yes, now we've got a problem when it's watery.
Exactly.
Okay, so 1, 2.
Doctor, consult your doctor. Constipation.
Past 5 also, you still need to consult
doctor. That's for diarrhea.
Okay, so that being said, even as we talk about the types, even color,
color
really
is also
matter.
important. Yes, exactly.
Okay.
Can we have the color chart, please?
Yes, let's see if we can have that color wheel on the screen, and there you go.
So at the topmost, you can see the brown color, which is the normal color of our stools. Okay. Whenever you deviate from this normal color, it's an indication that you're having some problem and you need to consult your doctor. Green color you might be having because of some food, some antibiotics and some sort of infection. Yellow is excessive fat. That means you're not able to digest your fat, and you might also be having some sort of infection. The lowermost red and the upper reddish color, they both indicate bleeding in your lower gastrointestinal system. The brighter it is more from the lower side, like hemorrhoids. The darker red it is more of the upper colon side, and it can be due to cancer as well. And if you have black or dark brown color, which we see on the lower right side, that indicates you are having bleeding in your upper intestinal system. If you are having bleeding in your esophagus, stomach or upper small intestine, then you might be having black color stools as well. And the white color indicates that you're not having bile acids in your stools. So that indicates problem in the liver and the biliary systems. So whenever you deviate from this, you just need to consult your doctor, and you need to go through some investigations to identify the cause.
Well, you know, what we tend to do, especially here in Kenya, you've probably seen, is over-the-counter remedies, where maybe I will perhaps go and buy a laxative, and people take that on the regular. What's your thought on that? And even taking pills to help in regards to perhaps if you have a condition like diarrhea?
See, it is a risky job. Okay. Lots of people, I can say that most of the people are going to pharmacists directly rather than going to your doctor, and they'll just get some antibiotic if they are having diarrhea, or they'll get some laxative if they are having constipation. Okay, but they are treating their symptoms. They are not treating their disease. Okay, symptom and disease are the different thing. You need to treat your disease to the root causes. You don't need to treat your symptoms. So if they are doing that, they'll be having this problem again and again. So it's better to go to a doctor, identify the root cause and treat that cause.
Okay, all right. Thank you so much for that, doctor. And remember, we are still looking out for your calls. Go ahead and give us a call in case you actually do want to speak to Dr. and you have a question. In the meantime, I'm actually going to walk over to our other side because we've got our favorite nutritionist and fitness coach, Roseanne Kamau, who's here with us. She's back to answer some of your questions and, of course, talking about foods that promote digestive health. Hi.
Hey, Shiko, how are you?
I'm good. I'm good. Nice
Thanks
to
for
see you.
having me.
Ding, ding, ding.
Yay. Look at us, we're Carla coordinated.
I know. We think alike.
We sure do.
Don't we? Every time you come, we're always matching.
It looks like that, right?
All right. So, Roseanne, karibu sana.
Asante.
Very interesting discussion we're having this morning.
Yes.
And so let's start off with what we were even talking about before we, came into studio.
Right.
And you were telling me, oh my gosh, Shiko, the issue of bloating is so common today.
I cannot even begin to tell you. Last week, actually, I did a survey with my clients on Instagram, Coach Roseanne.
Yeah.
And a lot of people, the question was asking folks is, okay, what are the main issues you have about weight loss, about your stomach, about gut health, etc.?
Yeah.
And bloating was one of those things that just came over and over and over.
Yeah.
And I just thought, you know what? We need to address this issue because there's a lot of people, even as the callers have been calling, who are really struggling with bloating and constipation.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. So, in your opinion, is it lack of what we are not eating or what it is that we are eating?
You know, actually what I say, I think it's a combination of both.
Yes.
And the first thing that I say when it comes to your nutrition and when it comes to your colon and when it comes to gut health, the first issue is what are you actually putting in your body? Because a lot of what I'm finding is I'm telling people what to do. But if you don't put processed foods, if you don't put sugary foods, if you don't put those things in the first place, your body is actually going to function optimally. Unless, of course, you maybe have some autoimmune issues or you have other things that are going on. But let's say you are healthy, you're whole. If you're feeding your body all the processed foods, all the white flours, all the cakes, all the mandazis, the chapos, and that's what you're finding that you're eating on a regular basis, that in itself will start being a problem. If you also find that you're not putting in a lot of fiber-rich foods in your
Dr.
diet,
even said that before,
right? If you're not putting a lot of those foods, then that's going to be a problem. So it is a two-pronged problem. What are you putting in your body and what are you not putting in your body?
Exactly.
Right? Yeah, so you need to address it, number one, first. That's the first thing you want to address it.
Okay, fine. So how to get rid of the gas? Start by eating right. Then now we see, of course, this turning into a constipation issue. So a lot of people are walking up, backed up, literally.
We don't want people being backed up,
you know?
We got to get to the bottom of this. No pun intended. No pun intended. But really, the reason, again, why people are being backed up is because you're not putting the right things in your body. And so usually what I like to say, you always want to have water. Hydrate, hydrate, hydrate. And we're not hydrating with soda or any of fizzy drinks or carbonated drinks because those also, they will end up gassing you a lot. Like if you say you're chewing gum or you're drinking soda or you're taking carbonated stuff, that carbonation can release gas and you can find that you're bloated or you're distended. So what I usually say is please get water, water, water. Once you wake up first thing in the morning, do some stretches, you know, to kind of get things moving. If you want to exercise, that's another thing. But in terms of get things moving, water, water, water. I cannot even begin to emphasize how much a lot of us are not drinking enough water.
And that's why we say water is life.
It is. It is.
So when we talk about foods that at least can get us moving, so that we are not backed up, let's deal a little bit with that constipation. What do I need to eat, Roseanne, to just give me that relief?
So the first thing that I want us to look at is if you find that you've not been eating a lot of fiber-rich foods, which is what we have here, you also want to be very conscious not to overdo at the very beginning. You want to gradually add that food slowly by slowly so that even your gut gets used to getting all these foods. Because if you actually go in and let's say you start all fiber-rich foods, so we're starting from someone who's not taking and then all of a sudden you just add food, you actually can find that you're getting constipated because you're overdoing. So you want to start slowly by slowly by slowly. And you don't even need to go to the super to buy a tea. I don't know what kind of foods. It's really the foods that we find in our markets, the foods that our grandparents grew up with. Some of those I love. So we'll talk about legumes, so beans, chickpeas, these are good, but because everybody is different, there are some people who find that they get bloated by these kind of foods, beans, or even some things like broccoli and cabbage, which are again rich in fiber.
Even warus.
Yes, for some people. So again, it's going to depend on your unique body and your unique microbiome and how each of us is built individually, right? However, these are generally some good foods that I would recommend for you to begin to add into our diets.
Yes.
Things when we're talking about, just look here, the rainbow.
Yes.
That's something I preach all the time.
The rainbow.
The rainbow, you want to incorporate all different colors.
Yeah.
So we have the greens, the reds, the yellows, the kiwis.
Yeah.
Things like peppers.
Yeah.
Things like apples
are good.
Are very good. Oats are so good.
Yes.
This is like one of those things I say, you know, like when something is clogged up.
Yes. Oats actually
take oats. Oh man, those things like work amazingly because they have fiber. So what fiber does basically, it just pulls in the water, and then once it gets into your larger intestine, it helps it flow easily.
Fantastic.
So this is the fiber-rich foods that we're talking about.
Okay.
So this is what I would recommend. I also love flax.
Thank you. High five for that. Right? Let me tell you, if you do not know about flax seeds, you need to know them now. If you're actually having issues. I endorse flax seeds all the time, and I rarely have any issues. I don't even know the last time I would say that I was bloated or whatever, because flax seeds are part of my
diet.
Yes, part of my diet all the time. Flax seeds, FLAX.
Or linseed.
Or linseed, absolutely.
And the key is you want to make sure you grind them, so they have to be ground, otherwise they're just going to go through your system and you're not going to get all the good benefits that we're looking for. Spinach is another green fiber. It's another amazing fiber food that I encourage you to incorporate. I'd encourage you to incorporate nuts, again, because they're good fats, and we want fats also in our diet. Because a lot of people who, especially with the low-fat movement, a lot of people will be like, okay, we can't have fat, so they're doing a lot of low-fat, but that low-fat, those low-fat food tend to have a lot of sugar. So what you end up doing is you end up compromising your gut, and then you end up compromising your digestive tract, and you're not able to move. So if you can't do nuts, you can also do avocados, which are also highly, highly fibrous foods that are fantastic to help you move that stuff.
Okay. Even just focusing back on what we have here in terms of the colors of the rainbow.
Okay.
Look, if you can see, she's got apples, there's a kiwi right here, and oranges as well. Very good to incorporate in your diet.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, for sure.
I know kiwis probably on the higher side.
They are on the higher side in terms of price,
but apples
for sure.
today seem to be actually quite affordable, right?
And they have an enzyme called pectin, which is really good and has been shown to help with their digestive. So if you can, you know how they talked about an apple a day?
Yes.
Keeps you away from the doctor.
Keeps you away from
Keeps you away from Doc over here.
Yes,
I mean, we want you seeing him if you have issues, right?
Yes.
But if you start taking care of your gut health just from home, you're going to be able to find that things will be moving a lot more easier.
Okay.
For sure.
We hear a lot about types of nutrients that actually support the gut. And, you know, when we talk about things like probiotics.
Probiotics, yes.
We hear a lot about that. Let's talk a little bit about that.
I love probiotics, and because again, I always consider price and how much can you afford. So you can either take them in the pill form, but in terms of foods, if you have like a Greek yogurt, but make sure it says it has probiotics added to it, that's also pretty good. But what
are we seeing today in the market? Do we see a lot of the yogurts with what we need?
Most of them do not have. They do not have. So you have to read your yogurt, and you want to make sure that it actually says it has probiotics, and then they actually name them out. There's a brand in Kenya that has that, which I love, and there's actually 2 have come out that I absolutely love. Now, but the thing is, you have to put them as part of your diet consistently. So it can be a one-off where you're just doing that today, and then I'm like, okay, I'm good. It has to be something that you do on a regular basis.
Right.
So foods with probiotic are fantastic.
Okay.
I make a kombucha. I probably should have brought one up because I always have kombucha at home. But again, you also want to be very careful because some people, they find that maybe it affects their gut. So again, it's very individualized, right?
Okay.
Then there's also vegetable fermentation, where you can ferment your vegetables. For instance, you can get cabbage. You soak it in water, some vinegar, and a little bit of salt. You keep it away for like 7 to 10 days. It just ferments and it cooks.
Yeah.
That is amazing for the digestive. When you just add that like into your foods, it has a sour taste to it, but it's really good for your gut. So in terms of probiotics, that is what I would recommend for you to do. But for ease of availability, yogurt is what I would say.
And natural yogurt.
Natural yogurt, not flavored.
Not flavored, because that's what you see, like we will say that this is healthy because I'm having strawberry yogurt, I'm having, you know, peach yogurt or whatever.
Yeah, but that peach, that strawberry, I'm telling you, there's no strawberries in there, there's no peach in there, there's a lot of sugars in there, which is going to continue to affect our gut and our digestion.
Okay.
You really stay natural.
Yeah.
And what you could do, I always say, if you find a strawberry yogurt, you love strawberries, get your own strawberries, chop them up and put them in yourself.
Nice.
Put them in yourself.
I like that.
Yeah.
There's lots of talk about how zinc is beneficial.
There's zinc, there's magnesium.
Yeah.
The whole idea is you want to get those minerals in your foods.
Okay.
Bananas have magnesium. All these, like the kiwis. All these, the idea, when you're talking about zinc, magnesium, etc. I always want you to think vegetables, and I want you to think fruits, and a variety of them, because that is where your phytonutrients are.
Right.
They're found in vegetables, they are found in plants. As long as you're having a variety of plant foods into your diet, you're going to be able to get that in. However, if you're going to your doctor, you get your annual physical done, and you're finding, okay, you're low in a certain element, then at that point, your doctor will suggest, okay, can we supplement XYZ so that we can help improve that element, whatever that would be.
Nice. Okay. Yeah. All right. So I want to talk a little bit about some lifestyle changes that would actually help your digestion naturally.
Yes.
And we do have a couple of images to go up with that, so that can actually really hit home. When we talk about digestion issues, I think it also starts with what you are doing besides eating as well, and what you said, what we're even putting in our body. So let's start off with the first one. Eating mindfully, and let's pause there for a second.
Yes.
Why is it so important, Roseanne, to chew your food?
Let me tell you, there's a lot of us who sit down, actually walking. Sorry, I drive sometimes, and I'm driving and I'm eating. And that's a bad thing, okay?
Yes.
It's really bad, because what they actually recommend is for you to sit down.
Yes.
Watch your food, because even when you see the food, the first thing that happens, your brain, you know how they say you first eat with your eyes?
Yes.
It really, that's exactly what happens. You begin to stimulate your saliva glands. Once that begins to stimulate, the juices in your stomach, they start flowing, and they're getting ready to digest whatever this yummy stuff is coming. So when you're sitting down and you're being more mindful, it actually will be able to help you, help your body naturally begin the natural digestion process.
Yes.
That's number one. Number two, you want to slow down when you're eating.
Okay.
You know how sometimes when you're eating, you're eating very, very quickly.
You're inhaling your
food. Inhaling your food.
There are people who inhale their food.
It's so true, because you literally inhale air, and then what ends up happening is you find that you're getting bloated, and you're not even sure why. But this is such a simple adjustment that we can make, or you can make, where you basically sit down, take about 10 to 15 minutes, eat your food slowly, enjoy company with your friends, and just let that food digest itself naturally.
Nice. Okay, we've got Esther on the line before we move on to our next point. Yes, good morning, Esther.
Good morning. I'm Esther from Bika.
Yes.
Now, my question is...
Go ahead.
Now, my question is, I can see there are some foods there that I really don't know how to prepare them so that they would help me in my digestion. Like, for example, the oats.
Yes.
And I can see something like this. There is a brown thing on...
Oh, yes, okay.
My question to the doctor is, how do I prepare the oats so that they can help in the digestive system? Do I mix them with the milk? Do I mix them with water? Do I boil them? How do I prepare them? And also, yes.
Okay, we get you, Thank you so much for that. So she's simply asking, in terms of meal preparation, how do I actually cook my oats? Where am I going to put the flax seeds? You know?
Yes, it's actually, oats are the best thing that I love. My kids have this. There's myriad of ways that you can prepare.
Okay.
But the simplest is, you can get water. boil your water, add your oats in there, and let them cook for about 3 minutes. That's really all you need to do.
Yes.
Once you do that, then obviously put them inside your, it's like, you know how you make porridge?
Yes.
It's really almost, it's like uji. Yeah. That's really how you make it. Okay. Then once you make it, what you want to do is you can add something like a flaxseed, a tablespoon in there, which is fiber. Okay. You can add like a chia seed, which is fiber. Yes. You can add some nuts on top, which have
the rest are all sprinkled.
All the rest are sprinkled, and you can also add some fruits on top of that, and that just makes a nice balanced diet.
Okay, I understand we've got another caller on the line. Yes, good morning. Who do we have?
Yeah, good morning. My name is Langat from Marsabit.
Yes, Langat from Marsabit. Thank you.
Yes, I wanted to ask Dr. a question. What could be the problem when somebody you go to pass your stool and you have a bright bleeding blood that is bright, and also there is a blood clot.
Okay. Yes. Dr. I don't know if you had that. He was talking about blood clots.
Blood clots coming from his stool.
Yes.
Yeah. Now the blood clots can come, if there are clots, that means it's coming from a little higher up, because hemorrhoids are a little lower. So it doesn't take too much of time that blood to pass. The clot indicates that it has stayed into your colon for longer duration. So it is up in your colon. So we have to go through colonoscopy and identify what are the causes of this bleeding. That can be a cancer, this can be an angiodysplasia depending upon the patient's age. Yeah. So I would recommend the patient to undergo a colonoscopy as soon as possible.
Okay. All right. Thank you so much for that. As we are winding up, because literally we do have 1 or 2 minutes to go, Rose. And we were actually talking about lifestyle changes very quickly. We actually talked about eating mindfully. The next step, and I don't know if we'll actually put that up on our screen, exercise. How does exercise actually help in terms of our digestion?
It's one of those things a lot of us are not doing. We're sitting down in our cars, we're sitting in our matatus, we're sitting in our office, we're not moving as much. Yeah. So what I would recommend for you to do, even if we're not even talking like a vigorous type of exercise, squatting is amazing, because what you want to do, think about going to the bathroom. Yes. What do? We sit in the toilet, but we don't squat. But if you think about the pit latrines, that's really how we're supposed to be going to the bathroom. Yes. You know why? Because when you sit down or when you squat, I wish I could be able to squat down here for you so that you guys can see, your legs should be slightly elevated so that you're able to push your this lower part of the intestine, you push it down, and so that peristalsis, or that movement of your bowels, becomes a lot easier. So it's important for you to move and to exercise, because that in itself helps digestion and helps stuff move. Okay. Yeah.
And of course, 2 other points that we do need to raise in regards to lifestyle changes is avoiding a late night snacking and alcohol.
And alcohol. We should talk about that one, because if you find that you're doing a little bit of drinking and you're having trouble with the bathroom movement, that might be something you might want to consider eliminating.
Yes,
for sure.
So no more saying that the alcohol in a safisha tumbo. Okay, so Dr. we do want to wind up and say goodbye. Where can our viewers actually find you in case they actually do want a consultation?
I am available every day at Medical Hospital, Parklands. It's on the third Parklands Avenue. And they can contact me on my phone number, that is 0762 262 743.
Okay, again, that was a bit fast. 0762
262 743.
Okay, and of course, if you do want to get in touch with Dr. and you didn't get that, not to worry, we'll definitely put you in touch. A big thank you to gastrointestinal surgeon Dr. Daval Mistry.